Welcome back to Designsmith. This is another request from my weekly favorites video last week. If you haven't seen that, check it out right up here. I'm going to show you how to do this intertwine method two different ways. There are some that prefer to do it the old way, and some prefer the new way, so I want to show you both of them. Before we get started, please subscribe to support the channel. Alright, so we're going to be using the band Astrobrite for this poster, and I'm going to be using my favorite album of theirs called All the Stars Will Fall. And the reason I chose that is because it looks like these letters right here are falling. And we can also do something extra cool just to make this a little bit more original. All right, so I'm gonna move this over here, and I'm gonna go ahead and type out the band name, Astrobrite. And what we're gonna do is use two different fonts here, because if you notice over here on the right side, it is using a sans serif and a serif font. And at first I was thinking of using Playfair Display, but I think I may actually go with something a little bit narrower. So let's go in here and filter serif, and I'm going to type in condensed and just see what we can find. I want the width of the letters to be around the same. Okay, I think these will overlap just fine with each other. And since kerning doesn't matter in this particular sense because we're going to be breaking all the letters apart, I'm going to go ahead and create outlines, and we're going to ungroup everything. And I'm going to go through here. Since we're using an A right here, I'm going to take out this A, and I'm just going to alternate that going back and forth with these letters. Alright, so now we'll select all of these. I'm going to select this A to set my key object. Go over here to align, and we're going to align vertical center. And that's going to bring all of this up right here. And now what we need to do is kind of space them out just a little bit so that way we have some room to work with. I'm going to move these over here. And now I want to individually bring up these letters. They don't have to be exactly the same size, but it just makes it a little bit easier to work with and just easier to get a visual before you actually start doing the overlapping part. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind here is that this doesn't have to be legible. You don't have to look at this and be able to read it. All it is a mishmash of all these different letters, and they're just all flowing through each other. So we don't have to worry about this being legible at all. All right, so now I'm gonna take the letter A right here. I'm just gonna scale this up, and let's rotate this direction. And I'm gonna move this one over here. We'll just kind of put this over here on this side. I want this I right here to kind of go through this right here. Just temporarily, I'm gonna go ahead and put a background color, and I'll go ahead and use the red from over here. We'll change that color later. And now I'm gonna color drop on this white right here, because I wanna get a visual of what it looks like when that letter goes through the A. And now I'll lock that background color there. All right, so just loosely what we want to do is we want to lay it on top of the A at a point where it's actually going to go through that counter right there. And just adjust it a little bit because you want them to roughly appear the same size. And now I'm going to bring up this B over here. We'll rotate it this direction. And what I'm going to do is just keep on playing around with an arrangement here until I'm happy with how everything is kind of laid out. I'm going to have the R go behind this B right here, so I'm just kind of getting a visual of exactly where I want it to be. A lot of this really is just experimenting and figuring out where things should fit best. And I think what we'll do right here is kind of hook this to where it looks like it's hanging on to that B right there. And then we'll hang this O right here. I want it to kind of naturally swing that way. Let's move this up a little bit closer to our actual artboard here. We'll make it look like that T is hanging out right there. And if you notice over here, it's kind of a mishmash of what all is white and what all is black. So I'll do the exact same thing here. So we've got a sans serif here, and we'll color that white as well. The R right here, we can make that white. And the E, let's see if we can maybe hang it on something. It kind of looks like it's hanging right there on that little edge, so that might work actually. Let's line that line up right there. All right, not too shabby for just kind of throwing things together really quickly. Let's make this O white. I think that's gonna work out better. Okay, so first I'll show you the old way of doing this, and that's with the Pathfinder. So I'm gonna select everything here, and we're just gonna move this over here, make a copy of it. And now I'm gonna select everything that's here and go to the Pathfinder tool and click on Divide. And you'll notice that it doesn't look like it actually did anything, but if you look at the paths and where they overlap, it actually cut at every single point where all of these paths overlap with each other. So what you can do is use your direct select tool to select this part of the A and then just color that right there. And that way that is covering up that I. And then you could do the exact same thing with this. You can have the T be in front and have it kind of going behind this S right here. You can select this part of the S where the O is overlapping and color drop on that. Actually, what you would want to do is select this right here so that it's going through there and then coming out the front. And in this case right here, these aren't really overlapping or intertwining with each other. So what you could do is decide which one you want to be in front. You want the B to be in front, or do you want the R to be in front? And personally, I think it looks best with the B in front. And then with this right here, we can hook this R through this B, make it look like it's kind of hanging on right there. We can select this part of the T to make it look like that's overlapping. And then with this little part of the T, make it look like it's going behind the R, or it can be in front of the R. But I think we're gonna do that just to give it a little bit of extra depth. And then this E right here is kind of hanging on with this. We should have found some way to kind of rotate this to where it kind of comes in this way a little bit, but it's fine. And I'm not sure what happened here, but that is supposed to be black going through there. There we go. Okay, so that's the old way of doing it. Now I'll show you the newer way of doing it. So let's copy the artboard. I'm gonna get rid of everything over here, and let's pick up that same background color. I'm just gonna throw it on the artboard here, and now we can move this back over here. And I shouldn't have locked that. All right, so here's our original shape without divide being applied to it. So what we're gonna do is select everything here, go up to Object, Intertwine, and Make. And just like before, it doesn't actually look like it did anything, but if you'll notice, you can actually hover over these sections right here. And Illustrator is smart, so it actually knows exactly what to do. You hover over these sections right here, and all you have to do is click. And then if you accidentally click off, all you have to do is go back up to Object, Intertwine, and Edit. And so we'll just kind of put this in front here. We'll bring the T up to the front there. We'll make this R hook into this B. And on this side, we'll have the R in front. So there's two different methods in order to achieve this effect. I personally like the old method better just because it gives a little bit more control. Sometimes the newer Intertwine method doesn't quite know exactly what to do, so I like to be the one to tell Illustrator exactly what to do using the Pathfinder method. But either way, they both work very well. All right, now let's go ahead and finish out this design right here. I'm gonna make this like a dark purple color. In fact, it needs to be a little bit closer to a reddish purple. So let's do something kind of like this. And I'm gonna lock everything else so that nothing else gets applied to this. But I'm gonna select everything that's white by using my direct select tool, go up to Select, Same, and Fill Color. And it's gonna select everything that's white on here. And we're gonna change this to like a pale-ish pink. And I'm actually gonna leave the rest of it black because it'll mimic the album cover a lot better. All right, let's lock that background and let's just kind of scale this and play around with it a little bit. I might actually make my artboard a little bit bigger to accommodate for all of this. So let's make our background bigger here. And we'll just kind of bring this right down here. I'm not too worried about it adhering to a grid or anything. Let's see. We can actually bring that pretty far up like that. But I want the entire thing to actually fit onto the sheet. So we'll do something like that. Then up here at the top, I'll just fill in some information about the album. It'll definitely work out better for me if we spell everything correctly. And I'm gonna put 05 right here because this is their 5th album. And what if we did something that kind of mimics what's going on right here, but it also kind of looks like stars falling? So what I'll do is we're gonna select all these right here and we're gonna create outlines and then ungroup everything. Now we're gonna select all of these, everything except for the top line. We're gonna go up to Object, Transform, and Transform Each. And I'm gonna lock this reference point to the top center. And now we're gonna move it down by maybe 2 inches or so. And we're gonna rotate the angle by 10 degrees and then just click on Random. And I think I will, let's keep this around 2 inches. I think I may actually bring it down a little bit more. And then we'll hit OK. And now let's just kind of bring this down this way. And it kind of looks like they're heading in like a falling direction there. And then on this side, we'll mirror it by going a line right. Bring it 1 inch in. And we'll say Astro Bright And we'll put the release date right here. Let's make everything all caps. All right, and here it is, our Astro Bright All the Stars Will Fall promotional poster, inspired by this really cool overlapping and intertwining poster we found on Pinterest last week. We did a couple of extra things to make it a little bit more unique, and we also recolored it to be appropriate for the album. I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.